Okay, so I think we're ready for the question and answer. Okay, we go from here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm wondering if people at home can hear me. All right, cool. So Rinpoche, the question is, first of all, thank you for your teachings. The question came up in his mind yesterday, and maybe to a great extent you've answered it today, but nonetheless, we think of suffering, we think of samsara. We want to attain liberation from samsara, and we think of the different types of suffering that we ourselves experience in the whole rounds of samsara in order to develop the wish to become free from samsara, from samsaric suffering. And yet, when we think of suffering in general, not only there's suffering that we ourselves experience, there's also by and large the suffering that we inflict upon others. And so, can we contextualize it, or can we, speak about, samsaric suffering? Well, can we speak of samsaric suffering not only in relation to ourselves, like the type of suffering that we experience, but also suffering that we visit upon others, that we cause other people?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's more or less the question.
Rangi dunge sambatang, shengi dunge sambatang.
Jadi ngaco nangyun di soso dunge di samne ani kawale ngemba chuangi samba chigli des. Ine di yang dunge di la yang di ngaco shen la nuba chene yang dunga nyonge rawa.
Shen neba che.
Ani konzo ya dunge nyonge rawa. Cheza di dunge gi kyun den da wuchi 근데 셰츠치 여르베스 치치치 여르베
다 랑딩 디 벽에 나로라다 고대 요르 베나 랑딩이 동현들 삼라당시 딜레 태워되버들라 겐중스랍 아니 셴기 동해 나르테 미세베 아니 로제치 딜레 타바데 지마롱 냐바다 디 타바데 nye chetupsare nge dungye di meba sö toba la shengi dungye meba sö ma toba di kemendu ina nge simshu ge toba chi da simjen de le tang ma toba chi sö ya gi samba de go do sila du zembe in shine ningji chingbu di chezanga di chezang jero bu chi gi dongni gi dawa de ma song la nye le ninjung de song di jo chenju sim de song an shine dongni gi dawa de ma den pa dang ge ba di 다 독스 digdu ar tan ta lamzo namsong digdan de.
So he and so in Tibetan, explaining things in Tibetan is probably helpful here in terms of the actually, generally, we can't actually really get rid of other people's suffering for them, but it's this real sense of just not letting any of them go, not sort of holding to them all as much, thinking of them and holding them in our minds as much as we can. So that's what we would call great compassion. And so this also informs the way that the structure of the text, the three principal aspects of the path. Whereas lastly, Je Rinpoche speaks about emptiness, but before talking about bodhicitta, Je Rinpoche speaks about renunciation. So that sense of renunciation, so sort of what we could call compassion for oneself, and then the great compassion for others, the wish that they be free from their suffering.
So I asked him if it answered this question, and he said, more or less, not completely, in the sense that what he had in mind was not only the suffering that we experience, but also we inflict suffering upon others. So not just the suffering that others experience, but also the suffering that we cause others. But in some sense, Rinpoche, he said that in some sense, Rinpoche gave an answer to this in the last couple of days. In speaking of dependent origination, we spoke about no division between self and others. So from the point of view of emptiness or dependent relation, danger, maybe some of the answer was provided in those teachings today.
Kurangi shendu so kurang shegi shendu yobde zodi shengi rangi pir shen ne gibi dungendi ane
Della del number chula the mix gi sheyorbe the shegayorbe.
I wonder questioning whether Buddhism really talks about.
Dungengi kyun sambe kabla. So the soso di dungen kyun den sangi yores. Ine ngaso yan shen la dungen chegi yore. Jesa shen la dungen teba di kyun den ten yorbe shetsuji yorbes.
dide inshar wata shenle ya chebadi nge mishibe mongbe wong chesha serwa da gangzu ne gunong nangji chebadi yang mishibe mongbe wong chesha dide samlo ko da ni mishi mongba is labsarwa digi wongi ani nyegi le mangbo shibuchi sashas le sadang dero da shenle ne bada pembada lega mangbo ji yore dezo samalo nyegi sasha jo chiris da di taktabdela ani nyegi tab시 먹부지 다 제 먹부지요를 다 다바도 다 다메베 안에 로 추비 원기 추비 상황도 손제 등지기 상황 손은 전에 엔데저 참마 가스도 레 데주 깨버 제발라 착바디 매버스고 요래 디 사변의 멤버 체데 가르기 지고서도 착비 지고래 착바디 가야 되라 아니 착비기 니엄보고 쪼르버데 마소나 다 지기 미다보 공발로 소바던 지기 미두보 공발소 망부요레데 이네 개치슈데 아니 거기 자와다도 마소나 당진이 막 강토도 까한도 점베 레야 쇠데버치니 메두 점베 다 내가 반가 봐봐 디인도 점베 셴레야 네 제샤교도 소소리야 오늘 전에 민국어데 이나야 다 레를 타메바 인도 점베 디 레를 쇠 데버치베게 차과디바 가차도 고랑싱 참아 가르고 요르스 디들 바다
So there was a sort of discussion about how, in terms of thinking about the suffering that we ourselves cause others, not just thinking about the sort of sufferings of samsara in relation to something that we might have to experience or have experienced, but also in terms of us creating suffering for others. And when we're thinking about the faults of suffering, also bringing in this context, which is what the questioner is getting at. And here, sort of, in terms of course, the things that we do, many of the actions that we take in our lives are done through a misunderstanding, through different forms of ignorance or not knowing or misunderstanding, and then we create we do karmic actions. We create karmic paths or actions. Some of those are beneficial to others, and some of those are harmful to others. And so, the idea is sort of really for us to what's a method or a path that helps us to get out from under that situation, and obviously what is being suggested to us is that because these kind of actions, particularly the harmful actions, arise from our mistaken forms of mind, mistaken ways of thinking, very particularly the self-grasping, clinging to an intrinsic self, that or craving or attachment, we can employ methods such as meditating on impermanence or meditating on the unpleasantness of something to reduce our attachment. But that doesn't really sort of root out the attachment from its that doesn't root out the attachment from its root, and so we need to get at the self-grasping in order to be able to then prevent any sort of ripening factors for karma. And so then if we're able to root out the self-grasping and therefore the attachment which will ripen those kind of limitless karmic seeds, then naturally the whole process will be dismantled. So that's how we would sort of deal with the sort of practical way in which we would deal with actions that we've done which have of harm to others.
단도 패진 쿠란기 지워들 패진 디멘로 성부도 다이네 개바드면도 단다 동렌 세당 지어 봐. 아란도 동렌 기념년 세당한테 나로라 아니 지기 신기 동에 아니 망보지 삼배 토네 랑규기 닝지디 공부에도 당체 아니 신의 아란 줄이야 지기 가르쳐 그래 다 당불래 냠낸 제비 가라 당불래 거 봐. 줄래. 생기 동에 날면서 봐 상마 줄래니 아니 동약 파 가라 당 걸스도 랑기 대화디 파제 세 대화디 신입 노스텝이 게제 말을 대화세 대화 용이야기 주디스 수수 드부터 봐. 단지 다음에 또 시럽을 때네 신이 다 시와 양대도 두비야기 수수기 니주디 하고 있는 점배니 신의 가주 생기 동에 날면서 봐 예 파체바다 아니 거기 네바사바다 다 탐지에 아니 레년 상황진기 보실 때는 중화 인도 좀 딩 참은 예능기 인스 당예 파트 토비아디 가르스나 아니 다음에는 좀 최딩에 파트 토바 지기 실라되니 오 팔렘 바도 주 용바들 서월 냠낸 동랭이 냠낸 르바 용조 되네 레벨에 베지 쿠란 디든 저면 성부도 다디 다 샤샤
And so then just to sort of in terms of this question, in terms of perhaps this relates to the practice of giving and taking of Tonglen, where we take on others' suffering, and we offer others our happiness and take on others' suffering. So I wonder whether it sort of connects with that, and so that sense in which we all that the sufferings of others are unbearable to us, and this could also relate to people that we've harmed, but others in general. The suffering is their various forms of suffering are unbearable for us, and therefore we wish to take away that suffering from them, and then we also wish to give our happiness to others. Now, in terms of giving our happiness to others, that can't be we can't really sort of can't actually give them our happiness in the sense of taking our happiness and giving it to them. It's more the sense that that's a more sort of long-term process in the sense of thinking about how if we ourselves have understood understood the need to get rid of the self-grasping, and then understood that the path to doing that is to develop the wisdom which counteracts that self-grasping, and therefore by counteracting that self-grasping we will be able to attain peace, this sort of a nirvana, the kind of the state of nirvana, or a release from those forms of suffering that come from the self-grasping, and understand the faults that the ways in which faults and mistaken forms of mine arise. We're able to get a counter. We understand the process of that, and how and how also the faults arise from karma and mental affliction. So, for instance, in the other person, if they were harming us, that the faults and all these faults arise from karma and mental afflictions, and but then we understand the sort of whole process, and that we wish to give them the dharma to understand that process for themselves. Then this kind of giving of happiness would be how the Tonglen practice takes place. So it's by understanding that whole process of how to ourselves be liberated from self-grasping and mental afflictions and suffering, and overcome our karma, and giving that sort of knowledge or wisdom to others, that we essentially do the exchange, because we can't just give them our happiness per se.
And so, Rinpoche, the next question is somehow connected to the previous one. So, in this current visit to Israel, you visited some of the communities down south. You visited near Oz that was very badly affected by the Hamas attack. And, in such first-hand experience, suffering's become very tangible. So it's not something that we just speak about, in a theoretical way, but it's something that exists here and now. But also, not only the suffering that people on this side experience, but also there's the suffering that is caused to others on the other side. So when we look at that situation, it's not like an academic discussion, but it's very tangible, very visible. There's suffering that we experience in being harmed, and then suffering that we also experience, but knowing that in our names, suffering is being caused to other people. And in this way, when you think about it, at some point, suffering can become so unbearable so that you can't live with it, you can't get a good sleep, you can't sleep at night, and so forth. So it's kind of all-encompassing reality of suffering. So that's happening on one hand. But then the question is how to find joy in this situation, because Rinpoche, like today and yesterday, you spoke about joy. Particularly spoke about a couple of times or a few times about not being able to find this joy so long as your mind is still affected by obscurations. And so could you describe or explain how to experience this joy, or to how to develop this joy with kind of a correct apprehension of reality?
So I don't know. Maybe the best instant answer will be when you take the situation, the problem, if you take too personal, and then it is so kind of tighten up inside you, and then how much it says let it go, you cannot let it go. So that's the whole reason when I give a talk in the Oz Karsa, Oz, the Sajadiming, the Namare, Sajadiming, Kasangazot, Ni Oz. In Epso, okay. That place, I met the community, the people. So I encouraged them by sincerely saying, some of them are practitioners. So I just told them that now we have to see the differences. Other people are day and night, they're looking for this chance. That is the biggest victory for them. This is it, which is not the level of the human brain should be doing this. Even animals don't do that. But on the other side, what is lost is lost. When we are going through this kind of tragedy happens, it is difficult. But now, when you try to meditate and then think about, because we are when in the taking and giving practice, what we see, are they also suffering? People who came to harm, people who were killing, they were They were taught, they were brainwashed, they were so, it is like the brain isn't there anymore. So that's why brainwash is there, right? The word. So for that reason, we here, brain so fresh, full of compassion, full of your own, my mind, I can think, distinguish between good and bad and here. At that time, you need to hold this ground and say, even they harm me, but I'm much stronger than them. I'm lucky to be born in this kind of community, this kind of society. Still, I have this freedom. So that's why, while practicing, at the moment you cannot practice like that. But first, you need to hold your ground. Like, how much I got affected, but I'm going to hold my ground so strongly. This is the first thing that you need to bring the foundation. Then secondly, seeing like all these people who came to harm and who wish, still their strong wish to harm. But then you look at their mind, so upset, so disturbed. But you really don't know whom to kill, whom not to kill. They don't know anything much now. But at that time, you need to see, like, poor them. They are so under the sway of, in the name of religion, in the name of whatever. They've been so crazy. So then it's more like, if you go to the mental hospital, if somebody hit you, then if you hit back, it looks like two people with the same problem. But here you need to hold your ground, say, okay, I got a little bit upset, but to be honest, I'm stronger. I have more mind functioning. So then you hold this, right? Similarly, this same case. So then the rest of other practice will slowly move on very quickly. Otherwise, with this kind of a serious thing going inside you, even I say calm down and practice compassion, maybe I will get hit. So that's what I'm saying. First, you need to try your best to hold your position. Second, then you have to think very calmly, pour them also. And then you feel like, oh. Then if you really wanted to take into the practice, then it's not like, don't put a label of, oh, this Palestine, this Israel. Don't do it. It's more like you have to put more everything in one category, saying, once we are under the sway of the negative emotions, this is the game. This is it. So we really need to get out from that. First, who? Yourself. You felt that. So then renunciation becomes much stronger. Right? So this is what I'm thinking. Yeah. Sorry, quite long. I know that look.
לא יודע איך לענות על השאלה הזאת במובן הזה שזה האופן שבו רימפוצ'ה חושב על המצב.
사민사도. the joy part, I left that. So if you think like this, automatically you will not take it so personal. So then you will put that in a, this kind of problem is the whole world's problem, samsara problem. You put that in a big ocean. So now what you would try to do is like, so it's first, in order to help this being, I need to change, I need to be stronger. And this, I have this kind of guidance, tools, everything in front of me. So I'm going to use this. I'm so fortunate. My life is so precious. I'm not saying they are not precious, but they really don't know how to use this. But I have this opportunity. So now I'm so fortunate to have this body, brain, and then you will really be so confident in your practice, which practitioner without a confidence is more like how to give an example. The person who is good in driving a sports car in a video game, and then he is trying to be on a race in a real life. Similar. So for that we need a huge confidence that in this miserable, the world how it's going crazy, but your mind stands so strong. So then you can not only just become such a great influence to yourself, but around you. They will slowly understand. You don't need to say, I'm practicing this dharma, that dharma, but the way you talk, the way you conclude, how you carry it to support them, they will understand it. Yeah. So also, like, if you remember, or maybe you have experienced, that when time to time His Holiness the Dalai Lama talks about the suffering of the world, he cries. Then like a few moments later, then he just he will put his glasses on and then say, so now it's not to take time to take a rest, but I need to practice much stronger. So then he will also boost up himself in saying, he will make jokes, and then he will move on. So this is what we learned from so far from His Holiness. And then we really need to time check what are the special kind of his motivation, how he become sometimes crying, and then at maybe in a few seconds he really can be much stronger. That's what we need. Okay, so due to the time, we now cannot take more question and answer. And you ask this question, I have this bad habit of giving a long answer, so to be careful on the timing here. So and also online people might have questions, but couldn't give it this time. Anyway, there will be always next time. So in this visit, my main one of the biggest purpose of this visit is to meet the victims, people who went through such a difficult period of time, and then they have so much kind of strength and hope for the. Actually, they have practicing so well, and these things happen, and then it is very important that, like, the people they trust, like people like me. So it is such a it's a responsibility for us to come here and to boost up their energy once again. So even when this the war between the war when the fight between around, and then the fight was going, and then Iki mentioned that we would like to invite you, so will you come? So I said definitely. So then people in India and the area, sometimes they tell me, are you sure that you're going to Israel? So I said definitely. And then I tell some of my good friends saying, maybe I don't come alive, this is the greatest moment. So in the service of Dharma, dying is not a problem. I have to die sometimes in stupid ways, I don't know. But it's a better way to die. So I was so kind of inspired. Even in the victim in there was so little, what the worst can happen, but still they request me to pray for the both sides. That this is happening in Israel. That's a beauty. That's wonderful. So I really wanted to thank you, Dharma friends, to invite me here, and then also thank you the people who never gives up on their practice, their commitments to world peace, and this is your attentive. So I really admire that. Yeah. And then the people who today you came here for the course. I'm not sure how much you're going to practice out of what I said, but the most important, as much as you can do, to be strong, to not, the problem will be out there waiting for you, for sure. But how are you going to face? In your old style, or maybe the new style that you just learned from through me, but it's coming from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, my kind teachers from the Buddha Shakyamuni, which is very ancient style also. Which kind of practice you want to do? So now, the both are on the menu. So use that carefully. So I really wanted to thank you so much, and yeah. So once again, for all the people listening to the online, thank you very much. Thank you. And now let's do the dedication. Oh, yeah. So sorry.
All right. And so, הדבר נוסף שסרקון רימפוצ'ה רוצה לומר זה ש... סליחה? אני יכול לעשות share.
I have to say thank you so much, Yagila. Yeah. Such a good friend. And I always say, sometimes inviting like people like us will be coming and going, but he's real organic. So born here, and now the language, education, practicing everything very good. So, so such a you guys are so lucky, fortunate to have him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Service. Second, there's my always backup, Simon. So thank you very much, as always. So very easy to reach. He helps me to correct my English. That's why I never improve my English. I just he's such a great help. Thank you. And then whenever I need his help, without any hesitation, I can send a message. So very thank you every time you are there. And then all my friends. It was some of the people I already knew. It was a very nice gathering, and wonderful to see you again. And my new friends, looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, thank you very much, everyone. We're going to end the teachings with, first of all, making a Thanksgiving, reciting the Thanksgiving mandala as a token for Thanksgiving for the teachings. And then we're going to say a few dedication verses. We're going to do it in Hebrew. So the people at home, please do your own dedication in your own languages. Okay. All right. Om Vajabhumiya Om Vanchir Sashi Om Vajarakiya Om Chichari Koyogi Kowe Usu Rigya Purira Shalupapo Lo Zambulin No Balanchu Jandamiya
I'll read it in English for those who are listening. Om Vajrabhumi Ahum, mighty golden crown, Om Vajrariki Ahum, encircled by a wall of iron mountains, in the center Mount Meru, king of mountains. In the east, noble body, in the south, rose apple, in the west, cattle using, in the north, unpleasant sound, body and noble body, yak tail, another yak tail. Deceitful and traveling the supreme path, unpleasant sound and companion, unpleasant sound. Precious mountain, wish-granting tree, wish-fulfilling cow, uncultivated harvest, precious wheel, precious jewel, precious queen, precious minister, precious elephant, precious horse, precious general, great treasure vase, grace goddess, garland goddess, song goddess, dance goddess, flower goddess, incense goddess, light goddess, perfume goddess, sun and moon, precious parasol and banner of victory over all directions. In the center, the riches of gods and humans perfectly, lacking nothing, pure and enchanted. The glorious, kind root and lineage is especially to you, the great perfect Lama Lawson, Tuwon Doji Chan, the gloriously good Kyabse, Sekon, Tsenshab Tutu, Tenzin Tubdan, Nawan Lawson Rinpoche, the possessor of the complete teachings, whose holy name is being uttered here with good reason, as a thanksgiving for your great kindness and having excellently given us the profound Mahayana teachings we offer. This is our Buddha field. Please accept it with compassion for the sake of transmigratory beings. Having accepted it out of your great compassion for transient beings, please bless me and all Mother transmigratory beings equaling the extent of space. This ground anointed with perfume strewn with flowers, short mandala, and adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine as a Buddha land and offer it. May all transmigrating beings enjoy this pure land. Now the request for the Guru to remain for a long time. My May my perfect, pure Guru's life be long, and his white actions flourish in the 10 directions. May the torch of the teachings of Losang Drapa always remain, dispelling the darkness of the transmigratory beings of the 3 levels.
Guru Ratna Mandala ונעבור להקדשות. אוקיי.
Thank you, Lucky.
יאקי. אוקיי, תודה.
Yeah.
לא צאווה. Thank you, לא צאווה. And we are fortunate to have you and to get understanding Rinpoche words. So stay with us.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, and so אנחנו נאמר גם כמה בתים של הקדשה. We will do some dedication verses. We will do some of them in Hebrew, and some of them we will do in Tibetan in a way similar to what we did yesterday. בזכות חסד זה להשיג במהרה את מצב הגורו בודה, ולהוביל למצב זה את כל הנודדים עד אחד. לא תודעת ההערה עילאית יקרת הערב, שטרם נולדה תיוולד. לא זו שנולדה לא תתאבד, ותזכה עוד ועוד. כמו שמנג'ושרי אז הרוח וגם סמנטה בדרה, ראו נכוחה את הדברים כפי שהם. ככה קדיש אף אני את כל פוטנציאל הזכות הזה, בדרך הטובה ביותר, לו יהיו הם לי למופת. הקדיש את כל חיוביות השורש הזאת, שלי ושל אחרים, בהקדשה שכל הכובשים החולפים
I'll dedicate all these verses to be able to train just like the hero Manjushri who knows reality, and just like Samanta Bhadra as well. In the land encircled by snow mountains, who are the source of all happiness and good, all powerful, generously tending cancer, please remain until samsara ends. O sublime and precious bodhicitta, may it arise in those in whom it has not arisen. May it never decline in those where it has arisen, but go on increasing further and further.